The Rock Metal Podcast, episode 231 with Light Years.
Good.
Yeah, it's just an intro recording, so let's rock it.
Oh, nice.
Boom. Rock Metal Nation, what is up? This is John from the Rock Metal Podcast. That sample you just heard was Graveyard by Light Years, who I've got on the show with me right now. I've got a new album called Afterlife set to release via Rude Records on November 30th. And right now I'm being joined by Patrick Kennedy, share some stories about the music and share more info about the band. So Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you on. And let's go listen back to that track, Graveyard.
Graveyard.
Coming back from Graveyard, we'll get into this in a bit, but kind of ominous. Graveyard, Afterlife. There might be some themes here, maybe not.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it's a little spooky, right? I don't know.
Yeah, well, Halloween's coming up as the time that we're recording this, and, so it all works out, I suppose. But I definitely love that guitar riff in Graveyard. It's so melodic yet driving all at the same time.
Awesome. Yeah, that was kind of the idea when we first popped into our practice session. Keeping it upbeat, but like a little catchy at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what's the story or inspiration behind Graveyard?
Well, lyrically, it's actually kind of crazy. I work at a pizza place when we're not on tour because we make zero money doing this. But it's kind of by a graveyard, and there's always these, funeral processions that go, and they kind of like block our driveway, and like I can see people getting like frustrated, and even like our delivery drivers are like, I had to wait for this funeral thing, and it's like, yo, that's someone's like worst day. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But like to everyone else, like around us, it's like an inconvenience, which is crazy. Like, and it got me thinking like how it's kind of dark, but like how like, yeah, like you're going to die and you might just be an inconvenience to other people. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of a weird, dark thought, but like, I don't know, it came out in the song, and then the song's pretty upbeat and catchy, which is kind of a weird juxtaposition, but lyrically that's kind of what it stemmed from, kind of like, oh, we're going to die and be in a graveyard, and who will really care, besides your close family and stuff. So
yeah,
it's a good way to start it off, I guess, but it's a fun song.
Totally fun song, right?
Right. Yeah,
upbeat, catchy. That's how they get you, though. I mean, if you listen to some of the classic songs that are upbeat and catchy and like actually listen to the lyrics, it's like, whoa,
this dude's got some problems. Yeah.
Like that's actually an anti-war protest song. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen did that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a big eye-opening moment for me, actually. I was like, oh, this actually isn't a patriotic song, or it kind of is.
Right?
But
Yeah, that specifically, that Born in the USA is like crazy to me. I'm like, wait a minute, like this isn't the one. Mm-hmm. But so we're just trying to be like Bruce Springsteen, basically.
Exactly. For Rock Metal Nation, who dug the track Graveyard, if you go to today's show notes, that's www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. You can go and see a visual / lyric video for Graveyard, right?
Yeah, just a quick little thing to get it on YouTube. And
Cool. I'm kind of curious, what went into maybe the production or the decision to do Graveyard as like a visual lyric video?
Basically, when we were toying around with what songs we wanted to release before the record, that was pretty high up on the list, just because it was instantly stuck in all of our heads. If it was up to me, every song would be a single, but you can't do that. So we wanted to do a couple actual, music videos where we're like, quote unquote actual music videos, and kind of saved our time to put into a couple other ones. So Graveyard kind of was like, well, we definitely want to put this out, need it on YouTube, so let's do like a cool, ties in with the album art. We had the artist do some cool single artwork for it, and then Rude Records is very cool, and they threw together that video so we could post it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Take over the world one graveyard at a time.
Exactly.
Wow. Not ominous at all.
No.
Cool. All right, let's go listen to the next track, Back Then.
Back then.
You and me at a
Rock Metal Nation, it's John from the Rock Metal Podcast for a real quick break to let you know that Jay over at Metal Mayhem Radio is looking to help you get your band in rotation on his station. So go ahead and hit up Jay at studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. That is studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. Just go ahead and say that the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. He'll get you into rotation on Metal Mayhem Radio. Coming back from back then, super sentimental video that we'll get into a bit with footage of the band as kids. Definitely love that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious. Now, maybe the music video, just kind of ties it all together, and the track title ties it all together. But I'm curious, Patrick, what's the story or inspiration behind Back Then?
Back then, basically, it came like I was writing lyrics for it, and it was like I was thinking back to like not so far as childhood, but like the first time like Light Years was starting, which was probably like 2009, I guess, is when we first started, which is crazy. And just thinking back on like our first tours specifically, and like how literally didn't matter at all. Like at the time we were like, who cares? We didn't get paid, like whatever, you know what I mean? And like, no one's here. And like, it was just like such like an innocent time. Like, you know what I mean? Like we had no real responsibilities at home, no real responsibilities to anything. You know what I mean? It was a weird early 20s kind of like gray zone where we weren't really in college, and so it was like pretty pure moment of our lives. And that was kind of where the song started. And then I feel like other people can relate, they're my age. I'm not really sure how old you are, but older. And just thinking back, like, yeah, things were better back then, you know what I mean? Like I think it's kind of like a nice sentiment most people can agree with, I would hope. But that was where it came on for us, thinking even back to when you were young, maybe you think like, oh, I can't wait to grow up and be sweet. But like, you don't want to do that. Like, that sucks.
Now, for Rock Edition, who dug the track Back Then, kind of heard us chatting a little bit about the music video. So, Patrick, if you wouldn't mind taking us through this incredible music video that you guys put together.
Yeah, we have had the idea, to literally go back then and dug up all our old home videos from our families, and which in itself was a challenge, like getting a VHS tape onto our computer. We had to like buy some things, and that was kind of a process. But that whole thing, like we have a lifetime of memories. We had to like whittle down into 3 minutes. So like sifting through it all was actually like super fun and like kind of sad at the same time, rewarding. But we had a good time going through it and laughing at ourselves as young men and growing up. And so that was cool. And we spliced it in with, we just did a performance video of us now, so you can see how much weight we've gained and stuff like that. And it was cool. I had a lot of fun doing it. We did it ourselves, filmed it ourselves, took obviously the home videos were all from us. So that was pretty rewarding to do something completely on our own for a video. But It was super fun. And like when we did it, like we kept watching, we're like, dude, this is incredible. And then we were like, but do you think other people are going to like it? Because it's literally just like us watching a home video of ourselves and like being like, hey, look at us. Like, you know what I mean? We're like, but so far people really liked it and got the sentimental value out of it. And I think it went over pretty well for most people. Yeah,
no, I think it's incredible because even though it's not me, it still kind of takes me back to, oh yeah, there was a point in time where my parents shoved a giant VHS camcorder in my face.
Yeah.
And said, say hi to the camera. And then we never watched it. It just went somewhere in a vault,
Yeah, I had to be like, Mom, do we have this? She's like, yeah, there's tapes and tapes everywhere. And I was like, oh my God. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Now, for Rock Nation who dug the two tracks of Graveyard and Back Then, will be super excited to know that there is a full album coming out November 30th via Rude Records called Afterlife. Now, Patrick, if you wouldn't mind, when we pick up the album, what should we expect?
Definitely, you're going to love it. I'll tell you that right now. This is probably my favorite Light Years record, easily, but we always get thrown into like, oh, there's just a pop punk band, pop punk. They keep throwing that around, which is fine. Like that's the music I grew up loving, and we still definitely fall into that umbrella. But it's definitely like a different aspect of it. I would say like when people think pop punk, they're like, oh, like little kids singing about girls and stuff. But like, we're older, and we definitely have like more musical influences than, Newfound Glory now. So it's like, it's definitely pop punk, but it's definitely like more mature, which I hope doesn't like scare people away, but it's definitely like got a rock edge to it now, and like a little more depth. And I think a lot of bands these days, lyrically especially and musically, we really have kind of honed our sound. I think it's definitely I definitely think we're a different side of pop punk that most people might not be familiar with when they hear the word pop punk.
Now, next logical question on Rock Metal Nation's mind, who is just frothing at the ears at the 2 tracks they've heard, Graveyard, back then. They're super excited about the full album Afterlife. Is how can we find out more about you guys and stay in touch? Is there a place we should go to on the web?
We are hip. We have all the standard social media networks: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's pretty fun for us because people talk back to us, say, hey, you guys actually suck, and we can say, yeah, you're right. So we utilize them all, and I'm sure most people have that these days, so keep in touch on there, and we read it all, the good and the bad. So
yeah, and then
we're very sensitive.
That's right. You don't see the part where we go and down a whole pint of Haagen-Dazs because
because you didn't like our songs.
Exactly. All right. Well, Patrick, unless there's anything else you wanted to throw out there, I just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to come onto the Rock Metal Podcast and sharing light years with Rock Metal Nation.
Dude, I just appreciate anyone who's taking the time out of their day to check us out, and you talking to me. It's been fun.
All right, Rock Metal Nation. Hopefully you just found your new favorite band in light years. Big thanks again to them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to get all the information on the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.